But finally, we have Nathan from Nescot to ask you a question.
Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
Only 54% of young people aged 18 to 24 voted in 2019. What is your approach to reducing political apathy amongst young people in this year's general election?
It's so important that young people vote, and I say it's a story we tell young people, which is that politics is about policies and policy is about people. It's about every part of your life. It's about the water you drink to the clothes you wear. It's about other people deciding every part of your life. So you've got to be involved in this. And at the True and Fair Party, over half of our volunteers and members and subscribers are actually under 25, which is really exciting for us. And I think it's about that storytelling. But on a political point of view, we wouldn't do it in this election because we can't get that through. We would push for making voting compulsory from 18 and lower the voting age to 16, and also introducing much more teaching in schools about what our democracy is, how our institution works, so that people can understand why it's important, why things happen.
If you're elected MP of Epsom and Ewell, what will you do to support the students of Nescot College and Nescot College in general?
Oh, Nescot College needs to have much more publicity. There are so few people outside of Epsom and Ewell who actually know you're here as a college. So it's about using my presence and my experience and my connections to make sure that we bring more funding into the borough, support Nescot, more courses, and make you part of the green agenda going forwards.
Now I'm just going to ask you about a question about young people and voting. So only 54% of young people aged 18 to 24 voted in 2019. What's your approach to reducing political apathy amongst young people in this year's general election?
So I think it helps to have some younger candidates in the election. I think if people can see themselves reflected in the people standing for Parliament, that really helps. You know, people who speak like them, have similar views to them, silly things like dress like them. It just makes politicians seem much less remote. But I also think a lot of the apathy in young people comes from growing up watching this sort of slick PR class of politicians just saying things they don't particularly mean and not delivering on them. And so I think that regardless of how old candidates are, how old politicians are, what their beliefs are, I think if young people who've been so disillusioned seeing promises being made and never followed through on, if they could see people saying things that they mean and delivering on them, I think that could only help.
So how would you encourage young people to vote for you?
I think this would come back to my stance on personal liberty, actually. I'm a big believer that you should have the freedom, but also the responsibility to create the life that you want. And to young people, I think that's a pretty exciting message. You've got your whole life ahead of you to make of it what you will. So I want to, promote the sort of educational policies we've been seeing, where university is right for some people, but a technical education can actually provide a much more successful future for some people. That's why I'm very excited about, the government investment. I think it was £14 million in the Institute of Technology here, because that really gives people this unique chance to, work for the industries of the future, cybersecurity, tech, defence. In a way that previously they might not have been able to. So I would want to be a big proponent of further education, opportunities, a big proponent of reduced regulation in business, so that if you wanted to go off and set up your own business, you could do that without having to jump through tons of hoops just for the sake of it. And just the message that you've got an exciting future ahead, and this is a country where you can be anything, regardless of where you've come from. I think that's pretty exciting.
Perfect. Thank you. So if you're to be elected as the MP in Epsom and Ewell, what would you do to support Nescot College and its students?
Well, I would, as I said before, with regard to an extra GP surgery, I would make sure that any investment that was available at government level for further education colleges was fought for to come here, first of all, because you are a pioneering college. I came to visit a couple of months ago, and there's like an optimism in the air. People here are so excited to be doing what they do, and it provides a range of courses, that you don't really find anywhere else. So I would push for that investment, for that to continue. I would also try to act as sort of an introducer between Nescot and various employers in the industries that students are sort of studying towards working in. I think that's sort of a power and a responsibility that you have as an MP. You have access to industry and leaders and all those sorts of people and groups, and you should bring that back to your community. So I would bring it back to Epsom and Ewell.
Only 54% of young people aged 18 to 24 voted in 2019. What is your approach to reducing political apathy amongst young people in this year's general election?
So, look, I think that the biggest challenge that we have at the moment is that this government simply has not been putting any policies forward that support young people, you know, and all the policies that they're putting forward are supporting the older people, you know, so we're looking at pensions and things like that. So I think this government really needs to have a good think about actually what is it that the young people of this country want, what can we offer them, and how can we actually implement that in policy. And if we look at the Liberal Democrats, for example, one of the things that we're offering is actually having the maintenance grants again for university, which were abolished by this Conservative government, and also the lifetime skills wallet, so £5,000 going up to potentially £10,000 should finances allow. So it allows young people to not just train until, you know, after A-levels, but to continue to train if they need to, so they can actually get into the jobs that they want to.
If you are to be elected as MP for Epsom and Ewell, what will you do to support Nescot College and its students?
Well, look, I had a fantastic tour with Julie and I've been round the college and I've seen the amazing work that you do. And I think one of the main things that we can do as Liberal Democrats is actually increase the pupil premium by higher than inflation every single year. And that's one of the reasons why schools, you know, just underfunded at the moment, because you just simply don't have the money to carry out the work that you want to do. So I think that's one of the main things that we could do. But look, I'll be here for any event that you want me to be here for, and we'll support you in the best ways I can.
Only 54% of young people aged 18 to 24 voted in 2019. What is your approach to reducing political apathy amongst young people in this year's general election?
Great question, great question. I often hear on the doorstep, because I'm a councillor, as I said, down the road in Redhill, and during elections, people often say to me, oh, you're all the same. We don't want to vote for you. We don't want to vote for anybody. You're just not going to make any change at all. And I turn around and say to people, you know what? You can't say that about the Greens, because we've never had power. We're not tainted by all the things like the expenses scandals and all those things that the main parties were involved in a few years ago. We've got some really new, good, positive thinking that will particularly be of interest to young people. And then I tend to go into the various points about how we would be attracting young people to join us. And young people are very concerned about climate change, of course. And we're getting more and more young people saying, what are we going to do about that? The main parties aren't really that interested in doing anything about it. There's still a great deal of reluctance about engaging. I tried out an electric car. I know I'm going off the point a little bit, but I'll just say this. I tried an electric car for a couple of months last summer, and the infrastructure, obviously, is the big problem. It's not there. You go to France, the infrastructure's all in place. So just to come back to your point, what's in it for young people, I would say it's something different. The Green Party has a long-term vision, which actually, and we've got very radical plans to invest in education. As I already mentioned, apprenticeships, degree apprenticeships, cutting tuition fees, but also we've got a lot of plans to open up opportunities for young people in a variety of fields. Now, I'm involved with a few working groups inside the Green Party, and one of those is actually, you'd be interested in this, it's very much about improving land use so that it's not sterile, it's not dead, it's being used a lot more. So we will have a future in which there's a great deal more horticulture, because after all, we import a lot of our stuff at the moment. A lot of our fruits, vegetables are being imported. So we want to encourage the use of the land to be much more productive and in a nutritionally beneficial way for people. I'd encourage farmers markets, and these are great opportunities for young people as well to learn entrepreneurial skills. Markets are brilliant in my experience for that. And I think there's a lot of ways that we will engage with young people if we were elected to energise them, to enthuse, to basically say to them, you know, we're going to do innovative things. Now, some of it you might think, oh, it's a bit different, it's a bit wacky. Doesn't matter, because some of those things are going to be just the sort of things that young people can explore. It's about experimentation. And you might find, I believe everybody's got something inside them, and a lot of the time they don't know that they've got it. So it's about bringing it out. You need to be able to say to people, you know, try this, try this, try this, and you'll find somewhere And we will encourage the space for the young people to do that. You will find somewhere the thing that really, really is what you are all about, what you really enjoy doing. But it's not just about jobs. I'm very sceptical when people say, oh, we're going to create thousands of jobs. That is not really a solution. We're talking about a whole lifestyle change in which you can have an opportunity to develop your interests and follow those for your whole life and earn a living doing it. So we've got a different philosophy to that. We're not just about ticking boxes and getting people on 0 hours contracts. No, that's a no-no. It's off the agenda as far as we're concerned. No 0 hour contracts, no exploitation. It's about bringing the best out of people, giving them the best opportunities. And that's what I think we'll do if we're elected.
If you are to be elected as MP for Epsom and Ewell, what will you do to support Nescot College and its students?
Well, I've said quite a bit about education already, and I think we would extend a great deal of support to the education sector. I know there's a shortage of teachers and lecturers, but we would encourage a lot of people to actually come into the professions, people with skills who can share that knowledge. And I think that's always a problem. I've got direct experience of it myself, where I tried to help a college somewhere else, and there wasn't the resource really to do it. So I actually was out of pocket doing it. I could only do it for a few months. But I helped out because they were doing something in my field, and I had a lot of experience to offer, practical experience as well as academic knowledge that I could share. People like me have got to share. We've got to disseminate our knowledge and work with younger people. And I just think that's a critical thing. Bring people in from the workplace, support people with direct experience, and bring students and support Nescot with much more practical experience in the workplace, etc. I love young people being entrepreneurial. More important even than having a job is being able to create something. So if you've got ideas which can be converted into business opportunities, brilliant. It could be IT, it could be creative arts, it could be horticulture. So many things that we could do, and we would be very supportive of that.
Thank you. Now I'm just going to ask you about a question about young people and voting. So only 54% of young people aged 18 to 24 voted in 2019. What's your approach to reducing political apathy amongst young people in this year's general election?
That's a really good question. And it's quite sad when young people don't vote, because, we go out and we knock on doors and we do street stalls, and often it's the older people who are engaged, not the younger people. So, that's really one reason I'm in local Labour Party politics, to try to get younger people more engaged. We do street stalls, we have members, we do meetings, we do all kinds of things, but I think that it isn't working as well as possible. And I'd be interested in your own ideas, to be honest, on how we can engage more young people.
And do you think that young people are likely to vote for you? And if so, why would they vote for you?
Sure. So young people tend to vote more towards Labour or Green. Why? Because I think we offer more hope and less cynicism than the other parties. So, we're clearly committed to climate change and reducing climate change. We're committed to the public services. So I think we have an offer which resonates more with young people.
So if you're to be elected as the MP in Epsom and Ewell, what would you do to support Nescot College and its students?
Well, I'm more than happy to come in and discuss how I can support Nescot. I live in Epsom, I live just on Ashley Road, just round the corner. So I'd be delighted to come in and support the college as much as I can. I'm very involved in lots of community groups, like, for example, the Tree Board, where we plant trees, the Community Centre in the Wells, where I'm the treasurer, well, obviously the vice treasurer right now, I used to be the treasurer. So I'd be more than happy. I don't know exactly how I can support you, but I'd be very happy to try to and to engage and to understand what you'd like me to do.